it was in the evening, and I pick up the phone, and this person on the other end of the phone, whom I love, said to me, "Hey, I want to tell you about something." And she began to tell me about this patch. I thought, you've got to be kidding me. You do know that I'm dying, right? And you want me to jump into, some kind of a network marketing? This disease is not about breathing in necessarily. It's about being able to exhale so that you can take your next breath. And so there's almost a little dance I do. I'm not doing it now, but I've had to do in the past where I have to blow out as much as I can and hope I have enough breath to actually breathe in these powders. And the spray. And so, yeah, it was getting very, very close, actually. Who can ever say for sure, but I didn't have another 2 weeks left in me. That's for certain. That's for absolute certain. It was getting down to days. My indicator was going to be when I was no longer able to breathe in my medicine. And pretty much the day, my plan was that I wasn't going to be able to inhale my medications. I was going to make arrangements to go into the hospital for simply comfort and care, which means no life-saving procedures to be used, no medications, except for what would make me comfortable. And she said, "No, Krysta, that's not what this is about. It's the technology and the science in this patch." She said, "There's someone in the neighborhood who wants to bring you a patch." And I met the gentleman that brought me the patch, and we were talking for a few moments, and he started to take the patch out of his pouch and told me to be careful, in handling it. But the minute it touched my fingers, the very minute it touched my fingers, I knew immediately. Actually, I knew immediately that I made it. That I made it long enough to get what I've been praying for, what I've been asking for. My stem cells. I knew I was getting something, and it reminded me of that book that I read 26 years earlier that I'd long forgotten, saying how we couldn't, that our bodies would have a very difficult time in the future navigating all the difficulties, physically, that our physical apparatus was going to be bombarded with poisons and contamination and pollution, and that there would be scientific breakthroughs that would be not of the allopathic nature, that would be kind of under the radar, so to speak. She might have even used the word underground. But, I'd long forgotten that passage. And the minute my fingers touched that patch, I knew for sure that this was it. This was for me. This was, I don't know, I guess I could go as far as to say this was my salvation. So, yeah, I was completely convinced before I even put it on my skin. I was convinced that this was meant to be for me. It's kind of a funny thing. It's sort of like the brain does a really funny thing. It's like when you have a headache, you take an aspirin, and you can't pinpoint the exact moment where the headache goes away. And in fact, if you're not prone to having a headache, then even if it was a really bad one, someone might say to you a couple days later, "Hey, is your head better? Do you still have a headache?" And your brain will just be like, I don't even remember that headache. Well, I remember this because it was so profound. Somewhere within the first hour, possibly 2 hours, I can't say exactly, but I noticed that the ache in my lungs was gone. And when I used the bathroom, I wasn't panting, or it wasn't hard for me to breathe. I was still on my oxygen, but bending over or doing the things I needed to do in order to get there, I didn't have the angina. So I wasn't feeling like I was having a heart attack, and I was like, I kind of felt like somebody had taken these 1,000-pound weights that were on the bottom of my feet and just cut me free. And it was exhilarating and exciting and crazy good, and I didn't know how to explain it because it was so crazy good. And then I started noticing other little things, like I noticed throughout the next day that I didn't wake up being dehydrated, and I need to backpedal just a little bit on that, because people who have lung issues, asthma, emphysema, COPD, whatever the lung issues are, have a tendency to always be dehydrated because they're always laboring. Talking is a labor, coughing is a huge labor, and so the body doesn't hold fluid. And so every single day for many years, I would wake up with my tongue almost like papyrus, like someone could write an actual paragraph on my tongue. And my eyelids felt like they were sandpaper instead of my eyelids, because my eyes were so dry and my mouth was so dry. And it's actually one of the reasons why I couldn't wear one of my medical contraptions, the CPAP machine, because it dehydrated me even further. And so I noticed I have saliva in my mouth and my eyes don't hurt at all. I can blink them. And this is like now within less than 24 hours of the time I put the patch on for the first time. So I got really excited, like right away. In fact, probably by the second day I was out of bed, showering, doing whatever. It was like a brand new me. Now I'm back driving and out socializing and telling everybody who will listen to me about this patch. Because I want everybody I love, even people I don't know, I want them to have a good life, a better life, a happy life, a healthy life with freedom. I want my freedom back. It's coming. I've already gotten, I don't know if you can even give it a percentage. I don't know if it's clever to do that or not, but you know, like I said, I didn't know that I was ever going to be able to get in my car and drive anywhere. And so now I can. I've gone to restaurants. I never thought I would do that again. And you know what else? This is what else has changed. Since I'm able to hydrate, the coughing has been so much easier. I'm not up 2 or 3 times in the night. I don't wake up in panic like my toes in a light socket. I realize it's safe to be in this body. And I haven't felt that way. Well, actually, I haven't felt that way for about almost 15 years. That's big. Really big. I'm so grateful.
光线是自古就有的一种可追溯到时间之初的能量形态。对我们来说，光线都始于整个太阳系的光源和生命之源太阳。 甚至爱因斯坦也断定，我们的所有构成成分都包含光线，所有生命源于太阳的光合作用。植物和植被收集光线，所有生物都发出光线。实际上，人类发出可利用夜视设备看到的红外光。数百年来，众所周知，光线对人体有许多影响。LifeWave 的光疗贴片使用光线刺激人体的自然痊愈系统，为身体健康带来诸多特殊益处。这里列出了这种科技的工作原理。首先，将一个贴片敷于身体特定穴位上，贴片覆盖的皮肤部位发出红外光，反射到身体组织中。皮肤受到刺激，反过来又刺激人脑的特定区域，从而让人脑充分发掘出人体自身的自然能量流和自愈潜能。让我们看一下这在细胞层次为何重要。例如，我们的许多贴片产品有助于抵消自由基。自由基破坏细胞蛋白质的氧分子，从而加剧老化，产生明显迹象。人体经过光疗法刺激释放抗氧化剂时，这些自由基被自然中和。LifeWave 光疗贴片促进优化身体修复力的环境，从而产生诸多特定健康益处，绝对不利用有害药物或化学品。所有这一切都有助于人体保持健康年轻状态。如需了解详情，请联系经销商或访问 lifewave.com。